So Zach, this was this was not what we expected.
Not at all.
Baylor lost tonight, 42-31. First ever loss to Texas State. First loss to Sun Belt team. What happened?
Man, just it's hard to point to one thing. It seems like there was breakdowns at a lot of places. Offensive line, secondary, Shapen, Blake Shapen getting hurt. It seems like there was just a lot of things that went wrong, and maybe it's the watching Colorado beat TCU earlier in the day, the kind of the Colorado effect with Texas State with so many new transfers and so much newness, like that didn't phase them at all. That didn't, so there was just a number of things that went wrong for Baylor, really.
Yeah, that was actually basically the lead to my column was looking at, maybe we should have known something weird was going to happen after what Colorado did. I mean, so Colorado actually led the country in most new players. Texas State was second.
Right.
And apparently you can get on the same page rather quickly in college football. Who knew?
Man.
Because Texas State did it. And Dave Aranda, as coaches are wont to do, he gave credit to the Bobcats, and he should. They played well, but there's a lot of perplexing things if you're Baylor. And let's talk about the O-line.
Right.
They got manhandled.
Really? I mean, it was just Dominic Richardson was the lead back for Baylor. I don't know. He had the most touches, the most yards. He looked the best, right? Not that Dominic or Richard Reese got much to do, but Dave Aranda admitted as much. He was running for his life back there, right? And or they were meeting him in the backfield, I should say. So, yeah, you're right. The offensive line got manhandled. On top of that, they had 6 false start penalties.
Yes.
6 of the 8 penalties that Baylor had tonight were false starts.
And that's a lack of preparation. I mean, or just sloppiness. I mean, it's hard to, Dave Aranda took the blame and he's good at that. But obviously the O-line needs to take ownership as well. I thought the most damning play of the game for the O-line was that 4th and 1 call where they give the ball to the fullback. Remind me his name.
It was the tight end.
Gavin Hall, is that his name? Or Gavin, whatever his name is. Anyway,
right.
So they give it to him up the middle, and there was no push. Texas State blew that up, and it was like, whoa, that they did not look like a Power 5 offensive line.
Right. And then another, like early in the game, they were on the 1-yard line. Right. And they almost looked like Baylor was about to like pound it in.
Right.
And then there's a false start call. They push them back, and then they end up settling for a field goal. And that was kind of didn't get them started off on the right foot either. So
let's go to the other side of the ball. There was so much buzz about Matt Powledge coming back to Baylor and what he brought, the excitement and the energy, and defense wasn't any good either. I mean, and I thought Texas State had too many receivers running wide open.
Right.
Was it their first touchdown that the running back was basically uncovered?
No one near it.
Yeah, I mean, not in the same zip code. That's a breakdown, man. That's a breakdown of coaching. It's a breakdown of execution. I mean, obviously they'll look at the film and try to figure out what went wrong, but it just kept going wrong.
Right. I mean, Texas State had 441 yards of offense, which, if you're comparing that to last year, Baylor only gave up more than that, or sorry, that amount or more twice. Right. So not much improvement. I don't know if you is it too early to say that they're not improved?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and something again, I'll reference my column, but I said, look, these DBs, they're not Indian Bell. They're getting a little longer in the tooth now. Right. They should be like figuring things out. I mean, they're not Cubs anymore. Right. So they were young last year and they got thrown to the fire, but they got to start making plays.
And I guess Dave, to that point, probably one of their more experienced DBs, Devin Lemire, Dave Aranda mentioned that he did kind of suffer an injury there. So who knows how long, or how that affected him tonight and what that's going to do. So that, he's probably one of their more experienced and better guys on that side of the ball, at least in the secondary. So
yeah, so they got a lot to figure out, and they'll have to do it quickly because you've got a really good Utah team coming in next week. Maybe one of the best teams you'll see all year. Right. And suddenly, a season that looked pretty promising for Baylor with 8 home games, with a lot of excitement and some transfers that they were excited about. And you mentioned Dominic Richardson. He played well. Mm-hmm. But where's Richard Brice?
Right.
I mean, so I saw this team last year regularly, and against Texas Tech, Richard Brice had a really big game with a lot of carries. And then after that, it was like they just steadily started giving him fewer and fewer carries. And it was weird. Yeah. It's kind of one of those things. If the guy, if they can't stop that guy, just keep feeding him, right. So I would have liked to see Richard Brice more. I would like to see Baylor take some more vertical shots down the field. Right. Your very first play of the game, you get a 40-yard completion, and then I don't want to say you don't ever take any more shots because that wouldn't be true, but certainly they got away from it.
But how much of that do you think was
what Texas State was doing?
That or Shapen's injury, right?
Yeah, it could be.
Did that play
could be
any factor, right?
Yeah, certainly. It's not like we don't understand that there are circumstances to these things. Maybe it's what Texas State adjusted to, right. and maybe they, maybe the DBs for Texas State just outplayed Baylor's receivers, and those kind of things happen. But as Dave Aranda said, he was asked point blank, is this acceptable? And again, he's not one to pull any punches. He said it's not. Right. And he said he told the team that. So an unacceptable beginning, certainly one we did not see coming. Yeah. And they got a lot to correct before next week against Utah.
Yeah, it's going to be, I don't know if it's, especially with the offensive line, I think most of that is timing and reps, and you're not going to get game reps like you are, like live game reps are totally different from practice game reps.
Sure.
At least to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, to have that offensive line go up against Utah is the way it was. That's to me the biggest question.
Yeah, and we had kind of a rapid fire post game presser with Aranda. It was 9 minutes. It wasn't very long. I think there were maybe 4 questions in total. And so when you're in that situation, you got to kind of pick your questions. Because one of the things was that basically we just talked about a little while ago was what happened. That was going to be one of my questions to Aranda, but I ultimately asked him about the mood, and I'm trying to remember exactly what I asked him now, but I wanted to get a bullet in quickly, and I thought again, Smoke's question about is this acceptable was a fair question, and Aranda's never wanted to duck any questions, that's for sure, and we'll talk to him again 2 days from now, and they'll have a chance to watch the film by then, but yeah, it's there was a lot of weird in tonight at McLane Stadium.
Yeah.
So
very weird.
Yeah, and I'm not such a shock jock where I'm going to say, it's all over for Baylor. This is the season, but certainly it's alarming.
Oh yeah. I've been so high on Baylor. Maybe it's because I'm new to this job and I'm just learning everything, but I think maybe some of the air is coming out of that balloon a little bit, at least for me. But I don't know. I still think they're good. Mm-hmm. There's definitely potential there. Mm-hmm. it's just, I don't know. I was hoping that we would see some of that potential, and kind of a letdown.
Yeah.
In many ways, more than one.
No doubt. Well, read about it in the Waco Trib and wacotrib.com. And of course, we'll talk about it some more next week. It's what we do, man. And, you know, maybe they'll figure something. Maybe this is what they needed. I
Right.
mean, so at one point in the game, I was thinking they might still come back.
Right.
And I was thinking, you know, they had a really sloppy, ugly game with Texas State 2 years ago, and they ended up winning the Big 12 championship. Today it was sloppy and ugly and a loss, which is not good. But again, it's a long season. Like you said, they got talent. If you go out and upset Utah next week, everybody's, you know, back rainbows and lollipops.
There it is.
You know, so we'll see. We'll see.
Oh man. Well,
All right. Thanks.